From the Carson Student Athletes Center in the Schaefer Sports Hall of Fame, there is a big crowd for Sun Devil Extra. We've got a whole band of interns today. Graham Rossini, the athletic director of Arizona State. I'm Braden Bell. So a little bit more pressure on a show with the crowd in front of us.
Bring it on.
Yeah, I think we're ready to go.
We're not live, but we have studio audience.
I was going to say live, but we would be lying to you. And of course, as an objective host and a man of integrity, I cannot do that. Here we are. We got the memo with the hoodies. It is a homecoming weekend themed show of Sun Devil Extra today. Always an exciting week to obviously go through homecoming. Traditions matter, and this is one of the best ones for sure.
Yeah, it'll be a great day. Early start, 11 a.m. football, but I think it really ties the homecoming festivities right into kickoff. Really important game here against West Virginia, and looking forward to it. You know, Lantern Walk Friday night, phasing into men's basketball against Gonzaga. We got volleyball on Thursday night leading into the Friday festivities, and then Saturday will be a lot going on here on the Tempe campus, so we can't wait.
We love Graham for many reasons, but he basically just went through the entire rundown of our show as well. So those are all things we're going to be talking about in a moment, but we will start with football.
Keep you on your toes.
You don't even do that. Like, sometimes I don't even need to be in this chair. But 11 a.m. kick against West Virginia. You can watch it on TNT if you're not local, but a chance out of the bye week to try to carry on with some momentum, try to pick up win number 7. Of course, we've talked so much about the Jeff Sims game in Iowa a couple of weeks ago. Now a rainy game potentially again at home this time.
Yeah.
So who knows how the maroon jersey will look potentially after the game. Could be a lot of fun.
White pants.
White, okay. Is that, so we got a little uni
Yeah, we got salute to service.
Oh yeah, it's the salute to service game. That's right.
So really, really sharp combo. You know, we'll have the Pat Tillman decal and the white helmet, maroon jersey, white pant. I don't think that's any secret at this point. That's kind of a good staple for a salute to service and really clean look. I remember Sam had an incredible game in that uniform last year, and so Jeff's on deck.
Yeah, it was the UCF game last year without Scadaboo.
That's right.
But yeah, so it's going to be a really great ball game, obviously. I always say day games at Mountain America Stadium are special. It will be a little bit different with the weather, however it may be, and cooler temperatures. So we are hinting at that with the sweatshirts today, of course.
I'm most excited about the breakfast burrito game at tailgates.
Okay.
A little intel coming out of some neighboring tailgates that there's a breakfast burrito competition brewing, and I can't wait to partake.
Yeah, you're lucky. You're going to have to, we'll get back to that on next week's show, who potentially wins that.
Okay.
You know, we were just mentioning the interns being here. We also have The Voice. Tim Healy is here, and he'll be hosting the Legends Luncheon, another great tradition, of course. That comes on Friday at the Omni in Tempe in honoring Sun Devils that have been All-Americans in the past. So some names expect there. DJ Foster, of course, friend of the program, Jake Plummer, Danny White, Jalen Strong, Zach Miller, among others. So that's going to be a really cool event at the Omni that Tim will be hosting. But you know, just another part of homecoming week that's really special.
Yeah, and the Omni's been a great host for many of our events. A lot of our team banquets have been there. Our Hall of Fame weekend was there, sold out ballroom. It feels like every time we're in that building, and it's convenient. It's been a great fit for us, and yeah, heels on deck as well. So looking forward to Friday afternoon. And a unique thing, we talked about recognizing teams, but we knew we had the 75 Fiesta Bowl team that was going to get recognized earlier in the year. There was something about layering on the All-Americans with homecoming and salute to service that felt right, and that's a fun partnership with the Alumni Association. They're always looking at new themes and different ways to recognize some of the standout performances. Legends Luncheon is just, man, what an awesome turnout that always is. So a lot of fun leading into the official homecoming festivities. We talked about some of the sports that are already playing that week, but it'll be a fun Friday afternoon, and I'm just hoping this weather blows out of the way. You know, it's been a weird weather for the home season. Feels like we haven't, anytime it's rained in the valley, we've been unfortunately at home. So can't dampen the enthusiasm, but hopefully Mother Nature does us some favors here next few days.
You know, one more thing on football before we move on to hoops. Salute to service, as you said. We're recording here on Veterans Day, but obviously it will continue to be a theme throughout the weekend, and for good reason. I know ASU has such a strong bond with our veterans, and of course, always doing a great job of honoring those who served. But that relationship with Pat and the Pat Tillman Foundation as well, it's really special, I think, also to merge homecoming with the salute to service game. I know you kind of just alluded to that, but a really cool opportunity to kind of blend those together because it is so important here at ASU.
Yeah, I mean, we're a massive university, and there's a lot of military connections through students, through the families of students, a lot of our faculty and staff who served as well. We were at a university leadership meeting last week, and a number of the individuals involved in military affairs or a lot of our veteran programs were talking about how that theme carries throughout the week, and it all culminates Saturday at the football game. And so really appropriate tribute, generally speaking, but especially here at ASU, given all of our university ties, then when you bring that into football specifically, yeah, even more so. So glad that we can mix that theme in always.
Breakfast burritos looming, early morning kick, I guess, right before noon. So a lot of fun on deck for the homecoming game.
And
yeah.
TNT.
And
TNT is third game that we've had on TNT, and they just have done an incredible job with production. That's been a really good addition to the Big 12 lineup. And so making sure that we're pushing it out on linear television whenever we can. And they come in all week. They do a really good job behind the scenes with storylines. The production value's been off the charts. And so TNT continues to be a great partner for our conference, and happy that we'll be back on them this week.
And if you subscribe to some superstitions, ASU's 2-0 in TNT games. So
even better.
Make it 3-0 this week, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Now to the hardwood, and we are a basketball-themed show today. You can tell with the James Harden logo on Graham's sweatshirt. But a 2-0 start for the men's team, kicking off their year against a couple of schools from Utah and Southern Utah and Utah Tech. But I think more so importantly than even the opponents, just the way the team has looked. Fun brand of basketball. They're sharing the ball. Coach Hurley talked about that in his post-game press conference after SUU. And how about Masamba Diop? He's like kind of going viral a bit. 7'1" center out of Senegal who can move like a unicorn. He's been a lot of fun to watch.
Breaking ankles, shooting threes. It's been the theme of the first week of basketball, both men's and women's. I know we'll have a chance to talk about women's here in a moment, but the word on the streets that I always hear is just it's been fun. And it's been fun in the arena, watching both these teams compete. The men, you can tell there's something brewing there. It's 2 games. Not a long runway into the season quite yet, but you can tell that there's athleticism, there's physicality, there's a togetherness that we certainly have not had the past couple years, and really excited to see. You know, great test Friday night against Gonzaga. That'll be a lot of fun. That's been a good matchup for us in recent years. Really competitive games. They obviously got the edge up in Spokane last year, and so we got to return that favor back home here in Tempe this weekend. But this roster's been a lot of fun, and I think there was a lot of just intrigue and curiosity about what this team was going to look like with so many new faces. But credit to the coaching staff for really building a team that looks like they're proud to be Sun Devils. They're excited to be together, and man, they've been a lot of fun to watch in the first 2 games.
We mentioned Masamba Diop. Someone we're going to have on the program in our next segment will be Mo Odum, who the talented point guard out of New York City. He's another guy that, you know, he's kind of just that leader. You can tell, even though he's a first-year Sun Devil, he's really taken on the leadership role as a senior. He's been a lot of fun to watch at a 7 assists per game clip through the first 2. And then, I mean, Pig Johnson, maybe the best name in all of college basketball, up there, certainly. I know there's 357 teams in D1, so I won't go that far. But Pig's been a lot of fun off the bench, too.
I mean, what do you say about Sun Devils from Alabama? It's a good track record. So, you know, Pig, it was fun in the first game. Was in the press conference room after the game, and a lot of questions about, hey, how did this happen? You were at NAIA, you were playing really well at that level. Did you think you're ready for the jump to the Big 12? And he said, yeah, I've always had confidence in my skills. I was just looking for the right fit, the right opportunity, and I'm proud to be a Sun Devil, and I'm proud to be a member of this team. And yeah, I agree. Best name in college basketball, and what a great contributing member to the roster right out the gate.
He's going to give you those dog minutes, is what he said after that first game, and he's done that so far. Yes, as Graham said, Gonzaga in town on Friday, a 9 p.m. start, so a late night start on ESPN2, but a chance to make a big statement against a really good program in Gonzaga, of course, and a great opportunity for the men's team to continue that momentum into game number 3. Transitioning now over to the women's side of things, as Graham alluded to as well, 2-0 to start the year. We talked about the opener on last week's show, but they won over the weekend again against Eastern Washington, a game that really wasn't as close as the final score indicated. It was still a 15-point win, but they were up by as many as nearly 30 down the stretch in the fourth quarter of that game. They hit the road now to take on San Diego on Thursday, Santa Clara on Sunday. So a nice little road swing, but their style of basketball, we talked about the unselfishness for the men, defensive tenacity for the women. They are forcing 26 turnovers per game through the first 2.
I mean, Molly said this the day she got hired. You know, we're going to be defense first. We're going to be in your face. 50-50 balls. We're going to win that battle. And I think within the first 3 minutes of the first game last week, you could tell that that's how they're going to play. Yeah. And it is tenacious. It is energetic. It is a lot of fun. It is up-tempo basketball. And, you know, if nothing else, having an entertaining product on both the men's and women's side, what a fun way to start the season. And it's been exciting out the gate.
Yeah, depth, certainly a role for both squads as well. So I think, we're summing it up pretty simply. It's exciting basketball on both the men's and the women's side so far, and a chance for both of them to keep the good records going this weekend. So good luck to both those squads. Speaking of good records and continuing on, potentially moving towards another conference championship, volleyball. And I think it's fair to say maybe the biggest week they've had all year long. Arizona on Thursday in a rivalry matchup, expecting a really big crowd at DFA.
Yep.
And then you travel to take on Colorado, who right now is sitting in second place, tied with Kansas in the Big 12. So a chance to not only take care of your rival, but then try to create some separation down the stretch in the Big 12. It's a huge week for J.J. Van Niel's squad.
Yeah, really exciting. I mean, these are the kind of games that you look forward to, and they put themselves in a very strong position as we head down. I think we have 5 or 6 games left in the regular season. Anxious to get to the tournament season, but before then have some repeat business to hopefully shore up. And the U of A match is going to be a ton of fun. I know they're busting a lot of fans up from Tucson. It's always intense because it's the rivalry game, but particularly as we're trying to maintain our position at the top of the standings, a lot on the table there, and definitely expect one of our best crowds ever in program history. We're at Desert Financial, so there's extra room to spread out. Really, if you're watching this on Wednesday or Thursday and you're looking for something to do Thursday night, Desert Financial Arena is absolutely the place to be. It's going to be jumping. It's going to be so electric in there with just, again, the nature of this rivalry and knowing that there's a lot of fans for U of A that are here in the Valley that will be here to support. They've got the buses we mentioned, and the home crowd continues to show up. We're kind of teetering towards that top 10 nationally in attendance, which is a great testament to where this program has been and the fan base that's showing up behind it. And then you mentioned the road game in Colorado. Unique place to play. It's a really odd configuration in that arena. It's a very deep seating bowl and a little bit of altitude up there. And so I know the coaches have really tried to simulate some of those settings as best they can. And Colorado's sitting really strong in the number 2 spot in the conference. So a big week and a great test, but this team continues to rise to the occasion time after time. And what a fun ride this volleyball program has been on these past few years.
Yeah, still number 8 in the country, 20-3 overall, 11-1 in Big 12 play. Looking to move that to 13-1 after this week's all said and done. And hopefully, I didn't know about the bus situation, but a sad bus ride back down to Tucson would be.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it'd be a fun thing.
Yep.
Last thing before we move on to our interview with Mo Odum today, point guard of Sun Devil Hoops. Hockey, they had their weekend at home against Colorado College. It was a very exciting opener. On Friday night, they came back from an early deficit to win in a shootout, got a couple of points there before dropping on Saturday. And it seems like, this is a squad that's still trying to kind of find their footing. Really difficult conference in the NCHC, as we've talked about so many times. But there have been some positives, some growing pains as well. What were kind of your takes on last weekend?
Yeah, I thought a great summary there. Friday night, got down in a big hole early, 3-0 after the first period, battled their way back to tie it into regulation, win in a shootout. So really important points to get as we're now week 2 into the NCHC. And Saturday night couldn't hang in there all the way at the end, but that's a really good team. It's a top 20 program in Colorado College, and veteran roster. This is the best conference in America. There's no doubt. And so we know that week by week you're going to get a test, and no way to ease up going to North Dakota. Perennial top 5 program, it seems like every year. We've not played on that campus before. We played them in Vegas. We've had great success in some of those matchups. We had them here in Tempe last year for a really exciting weekend. So, trying to make those fine-tune, make those adjustments. And again, 11 freshmen learning college hockey at the highest level. I always respect Coach Powers and his scheduling philosophy. He wants these big games. He wants these tests, knowing that this is a long season. You got to really kind of grow into your own at the right time in the spring. And so early growing pains, we still believe are going to really benefit this program in the long run. And they're right there. It's a game of inches in all of our sports. And he's very confident, and the performance is getting better week by week. They're closing the gap, and it's just a matter of time before it all clicks. But nice to have these tests. Atmosphere at Mullet continues to be amazing, and now they get a little road test this weekend and come back, I think, for Ohio State on the back end of that. So,
around this time last year is when ASU went on the road and they beat number 1 Denver, and it kind of jump-started their year. Hoping for the same thing against North Dakota. As we said, they're number 6 right now in the country. That'll be Friday and Saturday. As always, you can catch the game on the Sun Devil Radio Network. Okay, we're going to step aside, take a break. Mo Odum, the exciting point guard from Sun Devil Hoops, will be in this chair when we come back. He'll fill us in on his journey to Tempe and the start for the Sun Devils. All that and more when we return on Sun Devil Extra. Back here on Sun Devil Extra, and as we just alluded to with Graham Rossini, we're now joined by one of the big names on this Sun Devil men's basketball squad. They're off to a good start, 2-0, and a big game coming up this weekend. It's Mo Odum, the point guard from the Bronx, a senior. Mo, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So let's talk about the start of the season for you guys. Obviously, a 2-0 start over the weekend. Now you get a nationally ranked Gonzaga squad coming in. How have you kind of assessed the start for you guys?
I feel like we got a lot more to show. You know, we did a lot of good, but we did do a lot of bad. So just this week, we just cleaning it all up. You know, them 2 games were very helpful. So now we did the good, the bad. So now we can just put it all together for Friday.
You know, you mentioned putting things together and kind of working through the kinks, if you will. 14 newcomers on this team. So, I mean, that is almost unprecedented. Obviously, there are going to be some growing pains with that. But how have you felt you guys have kind of come together at the beginning of this year?
Yeah, I felt we kind of came together really, really good. We do a lot of things off the court, activities, and the team is just full of like jokesters. So we always joking around. Outside of the class, I mean outside of the locker room, outside of the gym, stuff like that. So just being able to joke with each other, and then even when we're on the court, we give each other constructive criticism, and nobody takes it personal because we all know it's one goal, and that's the win.
Seems like the egos aren't that big of a factor as well.
No. Because we all came from mid-major, so we really nobody. We nobodies, you know what I'm saying? So I'll tell everybody, like, we ain't do nothing, so don't act like you did something, so.
You just mentioned that, and I'm going to talk about your leadership a lot as this interview goes on because it's abundantly clear. But in terms of the chip on your guys' shoulder, because, you know, let's face it, the Big 12, a great conference. There are a lot of people that are naysayers about this team. How do you guys kind of use that as fuel?
We just look at it as we got none to lose. We only could control the controllables, and that's going out there and giving 100% effort. If we could control that, then I feel like we should come out on top because we do have the talent. So if we just control the effort, and if people want to, you know, come out, if they feel like they want to go out the night before and feel like we're an easy matchup, let them do it.
You know, you just mentioned the word talent. Obviously, you're very talented, a long college career already. But there's a big fella, a freshman, that's a lot of people are talking about, Masamba Diop, in the start of his year. And you had a quote about kind of his potential. You said he has no ceiling. He's through the sky. I mean, we saw a step-back 3 to start the game against Utah Tech. It looked like Wemby almost. I mean, based on what he can do in a 7'4" wingspan, I know you've been around the block. What's it like to play with a guy like that?
Oh, it feels fake, to be honest. It feels fake. I've never played with a guy who's like really 7'1" and can really do everything. Like, I always play with a guy who's like 6'10", that could, you know, jump out the gym, or maybe a 6'9" guy that could really, really shoot. But a 7'1" guy who could dribble, shoot, defend, dunk, push the break, like everything. So, like, I'm soaking it in. I'm trying to help him get to the next level, like, you know, so I'm just, I don't know, hype.
You know, the cool thing about when he's made plays early on, he's almost got like that, because he's new to college basketball, it's almost like he doesn't quite know just how good he is. Was there a moment like in the summertime when you guys first started playing, do you remember like that first moment where you're like, this kid's different?
I'm not gonna lie, the first day he came in, because usually, you know, guys from overseas, they're more so like slow pace. They're not really like mobile. Like even from his country, like when he's from Senegal, so everybody's like that. Like his complexion is like they all like run, but they get tired. Like he don't get tired. You know what I'm saying? He don't get tired. He finishes everything. Like, I know he missed the dunk last game, but he's still a kid. So we be on him about that. Like, you can't do that, but like, he don't get tired.
Yeah, he was trying to reverse.
Yeah, he was trying to reverse. But after, you know, I get on him, he's gonna tell me I'm sorry. So he's like a big kid, so I gotta. All right.
So you being a senior and in a team full of so many newcomers, and obviously you're an older sibling as well.
Yeah. So
you're bringing in guys like Masamba, right, coming in. That leadership role in getting to that here. You know, how is that something you've really grown upon throughout your college career?
I feel like I've always had it in me. It's just usually my voice. Like I always could tell people like what to do, but it was just like more so showing how to do it, you know. And when I first got to college, I wasn't this vocal, you know, because I was a little scared. But in order to play at my position, you got to be vocal. You got to be the jerk. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying. I seen a quote like, if you want to be a nice guy, sell ice cream. So, you know what I'm saying. So some days you just got to be the one like nobody want to hear, because you're the second coach on the team. So once I figured that out my freshman year of college, I just stuck with it.
There's another point guard around this program that is pretty well known for being able to step up and say things when sometimes it's not easy. Your head coach, who's a legend in your part of the country as well, a Jersey guy. Obviously, you're from the city, but playing under Coach Hurley, and obviously knowing what you do about what he was as a player, especially at this level. How big of a motivating factor was that for you to come play here?
It was probably the easiest decision to make me come here. Like, we do the same thing, so now I could probably really pick his brain and see like what would he think in late game situations. Because now that's stuff I have to work on late game situations, when to get a shot, who to feed the ball when they're hot, who to not feed the ball if, you know what I'm saying, if they're not hot, even if I want to give them the ball, you know what I'm saying, what plays to call. So all of that is just now I get to break it down like a next level.
You know, I think you're probably going to agree with this statement. Some of the best basketball players, some of the best hoopers in the country, they come from the city or they're around. So I'm going to give you a sentence. I want you to finish it for me. To be a hooper from New York City, you got to be
a dog.
A dog. Well, that's Pig Johnson said dog minutes. Obviously, he's not from the city, but what do you mean by that?
Like, you just got to be the one willing to do all the dirty little stuff, like sacrifice your body, dive on the floor. Maybe you got to bang with a guy taller than you for a rebound. That might be the game-winning rebound. Maybe you got to get a stop on somebody taller than you. That might be the game-winning stop. We're not going to make no excuse. We're just going to go out there, be a dog, and figure it out.
That's kind of the mentality of this entire team. I've seen a lot of bodies on the floor, laying out for loose balls. Seems like that's going to be a factor on Friday as well, with Gonzaga coming in. And obviously you played in the WCC for years, so you've played Gonzaga. You know what they bring to the table. How excited are you now to have another chance up against them with this new team? It'll be a great arena environment on Friday night as well.
I'm super excited. Every time I play against, well, not every time, but every time they come to my home gym, wherever I'm at school, we have a pretty good game. So I'm just looking forward to the game, a very competitive game and very high talented basketball game between two teams.
Should be very fun. Your journey to Tempe, starting at Pacific, then off to Pepperdine. So you've been on the West Coast, even though you're an East Coast guy. You've been out here on the West Coast throughout your college career. You know, how have you kind of learned in those stops along the way to get you here to ASU and grown, I guess, as a college player?
I learned you don't get nowhere unless you really work, and it's something you really want to do. You don't want to put your all into something and you're not really putting your all into something. So if this is something you want to do, I knew after I got to college, like I have to put your head down and just work. And if you working as you say you are, it's gonna come to you. So that was just my whole grind and journey to getting here.
You know, if you guys haven't watched him play yet, you really are like the consummate point guard. Third in the active list in terms of assists in Division I college basketball. So you've been doing it your entire career. In prepping for this interview, though, I found something interesting in that you came to the Valley for the first time, or one of the first times, your senior year of high school. You saw the ASU campus. You kind of always had ASU in the back of your mind. How is it now actually living that, wearing the maroon and gold and being here? Do you think your senior in high school self would have believed that?
Yeah, I would say yeah, because, you know, I always trying to imagine myself on the biggest stage. So I just felt like if I could just figure out a way to get here, like I'm gonna just play hard every game, like, cause this is a dream, you know, coming from where I'm from. Not everybody go to college, let alone a school like Arizona State. So just getting here, I'm not taking nothing for granted. What
was the coolest moment, like when you started out? I know you posted pictures with James, and he's around the building, and that's pretty awesome. But maybe that will be it. But kind of that moment, you were like, I really am a Sun Devil. Like, this is pretty awesome.
Probably when I came to a football game.
Okay.
When I came to a football game, because Pacific and Pepperdine, they don't even have a football team.
Right.
So I've never been to a college football game. So when I came to a football game, and I just seen it crowded, I'm like, wow, this is like a movie, like out of a movie. So I was hyped. I was like, nah, I'm really here. Like, I'm really here.
The environments have been great for football, and I mean, I hope Sun Devil Nation starts to recognize what you guys are doing as well. Sure. Obviously, you know, non-conference games, but starting with Gonzaga and into Big 12 play, that building over there can get rocking too.
No, for
so
real.
You guys deserve it with the way you've started the year. It's been a lot of fun to watch you guys, and obviously settling in with so many newcomers. This is one of the best ones, though. Mo Odum and the Sun Devils will be taking on Gonzaga on Friday at 9 p.m. late night. It'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you show up. Mo, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back with Graham Rossini on Sun Devil Extra. Back here on Sun Devil Extra from the Carson Student Athlete Center. Thanks a lot to Mo Odum for joining us just a moment ago. Rejoined now by Athletic Director Graham Rossini. And we were talking before we went on air about the Harden brand, the collaboration with James, of course, one of the great Sun Devils of all time, and some exciting stuff being rolled out pretty soon in terms of his brand, correct?
I mean, he is a legendary Sun Devil. I don't remember if we've talked about this on the show before, but every season he's played, from high school to college to the NBA, he's been in the playoffs, which is unheard of. it's been fun pointing that out every chance we get. But James still doing his thing in the NBA as they've gotten the season underway. We've had a good time teasing some uniform or some merch on the show. So I figured we'd continue that theme as we get into kind of hoodie weather. And we got some fun things coming in late January, early February on the basketball court. You know, a little nod to James Harden plus Adidas plus Sun Devil basketball. So stay tuned. Some cool things coming. If you follow Pat Mahomes and Texas Tech, maybe there's a little bit of similarity in what we're going to be doing. So stay tuned.
We are a very uniform-friendly show, and we have been on the record for a long time. This is a good tease.
And it's a great logo. I mean, there's
is.
an H on there, kind of. So homecoming,
Yeah.
Harden homecoming, Sun Devils for life. It all ties together.
Well, in a cream hoodie with black pants, you can't go wrong. We've already said this on the program, and I think that's a very a solid, astute observation as well. We talked about triathlon last week a lot in the show, and so I wanted to recap the national championships. That went down in Tempe, of course, a runner-up position, second in the national championships for Cliff English and the Sun Devil Triathlon squad. Obviously, a big-time event to be taking place in Tempe, and I know you were there. You posted about it on your Instagram, but what was Saturday like in terms of the triathlon, Natty?
Well, it was just a fun day in general. I mean, we had a lot going on Saturday here in Tempe. We had women's basketball early in the afternoon, the national championships at Tempe Beach Park and Mill Avenue, and then home hockey that night. So it was a fun day to be around the Tempe campus. And the national championships, finishing national runner-up, back-to-back years. Credit to Coach English and the team. It is so incredibly impressive to watch. Mm-hmm. And again, just they're swimming in Tempe Town Lake, not known for a great body of water to swim in, but it did its part. The bike course is a really fun route through Curry Road, Papago Park, the Mill Avenue Bridge, and we're grateful for the support we get from City of Tempe to put on the event. And then the running segment along the beachfront there, just unbelievable athleticism and endurance and physicality for these young women, and they left it all on the track there. And I remember talking to Alex as she came in. I think she finished top 10 if I remember correctly. And there was just emotion behind her response, and she's like, "I'm proud, and I know we left it out there." And that's all you can ask for as a competitor. That's all you can ask for as an athlete, that they emptied the tank on behalf of the Sun Devils. And about 40 programs in that sport, to be number 2 in the nation is a credit to what we're building in this program. And great to have the championships back in Tempe. Grateful for our team and the support that they put into it. Not an easy event to produce, but our team steps up in those moments time and time again. And just really proud of the program. And there's some Olympic hopefuls on that roster. I know Naomi was on the show last week, and she'll be right there in the mix for LA of 28. There's some others internationally that'll have that same opportunity, and just really proud of them. I mean, incredibly just in awe of witnessing that event in particular. And it's not one of the sports that we get a chance to watch in person very often, because they travel nationally and globally for that matter. But special to have that in Tempe. We'll have the national championships again next year locally in November, and so definitely encourage people to keep that on the radar of just a fun way to support. A lot of fans that were there as well, and a great way to spend the afternoon.
And I think you said it best. These are student athletes that we don't get to see perform all that much because of their schedule. So when you have the chance to, especially when it's a national championship, it's extra special. One freshman of the year, Division 1, Sonia de Koning,
really cool.
out of the Netherlands, D1 freshman of the year. So a really great nod to her. Another potential Olympic hopeful for sure. From triathlon on to some other friends of the program, the wrestling program. Zeke Jones and his squad, they opened the year with the Michigan State in East Lansing. And how about 6 individual winners for the wrestling program, including both Larkin brothers, who we heard about on the show leading up to the year. A really good start for them. They have a really fun tournament coming up this weekend, the National Duels, where $1 million will be on the line in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So that's a unique kind of wrestling event. This is, I believe, the first year of doing so, and a great opportunity for the Sun Devils to compete on a big-time national stage on the mat. Yeah,
Tulsa's a great market for wrestling. They had the national championships a few years ago, and there's a lot of wrestling fandom throughout the Midwest, certainly in Oklahoma, and it's a great venue for it. We've competed in that venue before. Our coaches know it well. Some of our athletes have been there as well. And this is going to be a fun roster to watch. We're used to being a perennial top 10 team in wrestling. Yeah. This team is maybe lesser known than some of the star power rosters we've had in the past few years, but there's something brewing in that wrestling room, and Zeke is very confident, very excited about the roster, and it's just odd to not be on that national radar the way that we typically are. But last weekend's performance is definitely starting to show the Sun Devils are strong, and there's depth. We've had a lot more, we've had a scholarship infusion in the wrestling program as well, and that's allowed them to recruit at an even higher level. Really great donor and alumni support in that sport in particular, and so excited for them to kind of do that progression week by week and look up in the spring and be right there in the national mix the way that we're used to it.
One more thing before we get to Sun Devil for Life of the Week, and we got to talk men's and women's swim and dive. They were at home over the weekend. Men's picked off number 15 USC. They'll be back in action in 2 weeks' time. And the women's team had a draw, I should say, with UCLA, who's also nationally ranked. So in the pool, they continue a very strong performance as well. Now on to Sun Devil for Life of the Week, and in a Hall of Fame weekend, obviously there are going to be great Sun Devil alums walking all over campus this weekend. Do you have one in mind that you saw maybe last week?
Well, we've got Jake Plummer back on campus this week, so that's always something to look forward to, and we'll probably mention him next week. This last week, Tony Simmons, football letter winner, played in the program, had some NFL training camp experience as well. Is back locally, is running a business. He's been an incredible conduit for us, connecting to some donors and some business partners locally. And so Tony's a guy that is just very proud of his association with ASU. He's back in the Valley now. They've got a little girl and another one on the way. He and his wife Britt, and so it was good to spend time with Tony 3 or 4 times this last week, and really trying to find how he can plug his network into the Sun Devils on behalf of everything that we're trying to build and grow. And so Sun Devils for Life come in all different forms, and Tony's back locally plugging in, and we're very grateful for that.
That's awesome. I'm giving a shout again to Jeff Ayers. I know I did it last week.
Yeah,
my broadcast partner.
How did he do? I didn't get a chance to go back and watch.
I was curious. No, he did really well. Obviously, it was his first time on the mic, but he's so coachable. Right, and that's the great thing about student athletes being in the broadcast field. So coachable, was asking questions the entire way through.
I like it.
Really liked working with him. He's also like the mayor. Anytime he goes anywhere, he's either stopping for a photo, shaking a hand, kissing a baby, whatever it may be. He
got pretty good at like the no-look dap as the game went on.
Yep.
You know, people were coming by, patting him on the shoulder, and I think he just got really good at like I'm doing what I need to do, but I'll handshake, I'll dap up as you're walking by, and I heard great feedback. And so obviously you do this for a living, and that's a great way to bring him into that conversation. Again, his Sun Devil basketball experience, but his just knowledge of the game at the highest level. And when you have a NBA world champion on the mic, describing the game, relating to what these guys are going through, understanding the dynamic at play here. What a cool thing to bring our fans.
He wore his Spurs 2013 finals ring.
Not
game
small,
1.
right?
No, I was like, well, I've got like a simple watch on. That's all I can match.
Speaking of rings, you mentioned the swimming weekend. They competed great against the LA schools, but they both men's and women's received their Big 12 rings last Saturday night in a ring ceremony. And so always fun when teams get those moments. We've got another family who hosted that event at their house. Really grateful for that support, and just hopefully that becomes the rhythm in swim and dive. I mean, they're really competing at a high level, and we talked about in women's basketball, the Orange County, San Diego, LA schools, and keeping them in the rhythm, both home and away, is important to us. And these past 2 weeks, we've seen that play out in a number of our sports. Yeah,
been really exciting to watch the continued success, of course, of swim and dive, and really all of our programs right now. People are trending in the right direction for sure. That does it for the program again today. Big thank you to Mo Odum for joining us, as well as our great band of interns and the voice, Tim Healy, for joining us as well on the program. Yeah, one more round of applause for the fellas. They're clapping for themselves now, so I don't really know how I feel about that. But Graham, happy homecoming week to you. I know it's a very busy but exciting week. And
you as well.
Here we go, diving in for another home football game, West Virginia on Saturday. We'll be back next week to recap that and much more on Sun Devil Extra.